All right, guys, looks like another episode of What the Teams Are Working On, July 2018 edition. A lot of really cool stuff has been revealed in this little blog, so I'm kind of excited to talk about some of that, especially the Total War portion of the... Total War. This is the Total War portion. The Total War Warhammer portion of it, as that's kind of my coup de grace. But let's kind of jump into the Saga team with Thrones of Britannia. So we did get that balance update that came out around last month or so with Thrones of Britannia. And Thrones of Britannia has gotten a pretty weird... Oh my god, look at this guy. Can we get a zoom in on that one, Bob? I can't look at this face more than I can right now, but holy shit. But, oh god, either way... Thrones of Britannia has had a pretty weird reception, right? A lot of people have said, hey, great game, interesting game, but also interesting because it's the same engine as Attila. But I'm curious to see what they do with the Saga team and what their future sagas are like. Overall, I kind of think it's a pretty fun game because I enjoy that era, and I've been watching a shit ton of shows like Last Kingdom and Vikings. But needless to say, they're adding... Let me come this back out a little bit more. They're adding some goodies here, so players can look forward to more depth and granularity in the politics system and within building trees, improved battle AI, and an important new mechanic called allegiance. So basically, they're going to be also adding in some stuff similar to the culture portions and the religion portions of Rome 2. You know, this mechanic is loosely based on religion from Attila and the culture mechanic of Rome 2, but designed to better reflect events of the Throne's time period and complement the design of the game overall. So it's interesting to see what they're doing with this, how this has kind of been how this is going to be a very evolving project. It looks like it's less of the kind of static one huge drop we have with Total War Warhammer 1 to Rome 1 and 2, Shogun 1 2, Medieval 1 2, less and more of like a, hey, this is kind of a constantly growing game. We're going to have a lot of what I hope is free LC coming for it. I think this is trend now. Oh yeah, so this is in beta right now. The update will stay in beta for a while, at least one more wave of changes, blah, blah, blah. For push all, it looks like it will become at the end of August with the release of Blood Pack. So we will be getting a Blood Pack for Thrones of Britannia. I know a lot of people were asking for it. Hopefully that Blood Pack will again be free, but we'll see. Might be a buck or two, and I guess I don't really mind that. But Thrones of Britannia is in an interesting kind of place right now. It's kind of smack dab between the historical team and the fantasy team, and a lot of people are kind of saying like, hey, why the sagas? But I think that the sagas open up the door to a lot of really cool options for little small vignettes or small windows in the history of, you know, antiquity that do deserve a little bit deeper of a drill down. I mean, you could do sagas and just talk about Greek city-states and pretty much everything up and down the Greek peninsula and the kind of different allegiances from then or from during that time period. And that would be a really interesting portion, or maybe even dynastic, pre-Ptolemaic dynastic Egypt would be a really fun time, or portions of North Africa as a saga itself, and talk about Egypt's rise and fall into Ptolemaic Egypt. That would be a really cool saga. So this does, or even certain portions of Chinese or Japanese history. So again, this does open a very interesting door with the sagas that is kind of sidestepping the historical team, which we'll talk about next. So nothing really surprising here, just kind of saying, hey, we did a really cool thing with E3, everyone really liked it, and I think as a whole, a lot of people really enjoyed the content coming out of Creative Assembly with Three Kingdoms. I personally did, and I'm very, very excited to butcher even more names from the Three Kingdoms era by just completely shitting the bed. But thank you guys so much for kind of chipping in and saying, hey, this is how you pronounce that, this is how you pronounce this. So that's kind of been really awesome. Hopefully we'll get some more news on this as we kind of get closer to what their projected launch date was going to be. We know that they were saying, hey, it's going to be a fall 2018 launch, but that has since been pushed back into 2019 to kind of help polish the game out. So hopefully with that, we get to see a little bit bigger of a reveal come the end of this year, as I guess you could kind of say like, hey, well, since the game was supposed to be out at this point, here's the game as it is now. Something that's a little bit more representative of a game we can expect in 2019. But Three Kingdoms, again, nothing too crazy here. Talked about the rewards, talked about features and sets and such. Picker allows for betrayals to be more personal and unexpected. You know, nothing crazy here. The Arena team is working on more and more stuff for Arena. They talked about Embryorics that came out just recently. as well as some new skins for him and the such. They also are going to be doing more features to come out, more commander skins, more stuff. We're looking at requests for increased cosmetic options for players in addition to commander skins. Looking more long term, we're currently busy working on hard on the next full faction release for Total War Arena. So that's exciting. I still have not played Arena. I do know and I have heard that it is really exciting. I just haven't jumped into it yet. I think Turn and I will be doing a playthrough of that sometime here soon. But hopefully that new faction, we'll probably do it on the back of that new faction, kind of say, hey, well, new faction's coming out, better time than ever to try it. Let's jump into the fantasy new content team. And you already know I'm so jazzed to talk about this. Now, we got some extremely disappointing news here just last month, end of the month, right around 4th of July, wherein Grace told us, hey, guys, hate to say it, Lord Pack isn't coming out until 2019. But they have talked about the campaign pack is what they're working on right now. Now, for the Lizardmen and Skaven players, I'm sure you're quite angry at your lack of Regiments of Renown and your lack of Lords by comparison to the High Elves and Dark Elves. Totally get it. But if I take a look at the development, quote-unquote, cycle of Total War Warhammer 2, yes, it is way different, super skewed compared to 1, so I'm not going to go there. That's a bag of shitty covered sharks that I don't want to go into. Who carries shitty covered sharks in a bag? I don't know. Some crazy and like imbalanced individual. You should not go over to his house for tea or anything like that. But we saw a campaign pack with the Tomb Kings at the very beginning of this year. Well, yeah, I guess you could say the very beginning of the year, just about. Then we had our or no, was it beginning of was it end of last year? I can't. It's been such a short amount of time, but I feel like it's been the longest amount of time ever. By the way, we had a campaign pack. We had Tomb Kings, so that introduced a race, introduced 4 new legendary lords, introduced a whole new, brand new roster, a new campaign we could take. We could go on in the Total War Warhammer 2 Vortex campaign as well as Mortal Empires. It did also add a free LC with it, Tretch Craventail. Then we got our beloved Crone and the Queen of the Crone DLC, getting us 2 new legendary lords. There was also some lords that are added aside of that. We got our Regiments of Renown for both of those races. We got a Lithanar added in. We got tons of balance and updates done to the game itself, overhauling a ton of content that is outside of the actual scope of the Lord Pack itself. Now, with this campaign pack coming up, we also get a new FLC array. Now, hopefully, it says right here, what we can say is that we're deep in the design phase and looking at some new and interesting campaign mechanics. That is annoyingly innocuous. Usually they leave kind of a little hint. We'll talk about that when we get down to here. They give like a hint about what they're talking about, like, oh, this will scare the rats out of you. Like, oh fuck, okay, it's going to be Skaven. There's nothing here. There's nothing to really go off of here, so I'm not going to get all crazy speculative. I'm going to be doing some videos on some of the armies I think they'll be releasing as far as what that campaign pack is going to be. We've got plenty of options here, from Araby to Vampire Coast to Estalia to Tilia to Dogs of War, everything. So we'll do some videos on those guys. But not much to report, but again, this campaign pack, it obviously hints that it's coming out in 2018. The reason I say that is because they've talked about the campaign pack. It's the next thing that they're releasing for Total War Warhammer 2. They've told us that the Lord Pack is coming out in early 2019. So that means that, okay, we've got, little less than 6 months left in the year. That's when we're going to get that campaign pack. I would put it around November, October, I'd say December time. But I feel like they were supposed to release Tomb Kings around that time, and the whole Norska shenanigans kind of pushed that back. Oh yeah, we got Norska back, quote unquote. But I think that's definitely like a Q4, end of Q3 time that we'll see the campaign pack. I could be totally wrong. It's purely speculative. I'm just kind of saying, like, it's obviously not going to come in the next 2 months. Or else they would have said, hey, here's what we're working on. We're happy to announce it's the Amazons and the Blowjobs DLC. Like, I don't know. It's clearly got something that's a little bit further down the pipe than it is sooner, because of the fact that they don't have any little details or any kind of like hints to give us. I think that's something a little bit further down. Or else that we would just be running rampant with all sorts of speculation. It'd fill the Reddit, and then 2 weeks later they'd say, and here's your full dose of the cocaine known as hype. So I think we're definitely going to see something here before the end of the year. So that honestly, that breathes so much air into my lungs. When I read that thing from Grace, I was like, I appreciate Grace being honest. I appreciate her telling us this, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck. I just want to play with special named rats. But let's take a look at that FLC array, right? Let's see if that works. Yeah, it worked. So we got all this good action. We got the World Empires, Lab Mode, Tretch. We got the multiplayer map pack. Got a lift in our Bone Giant. This is just FLC, guys. So now we see Dark Elves right here, right? For the new Legendary Lord. And this is just, let's all just slap a huge disclaimer on this right now. Take this with a grain of salt. We've seen this FLC array for Total War Warhammer 2 change 3 times already. So this is supposed to have been a Lizardmen Legendary Lord. Or I guess actually the background of this is what I guess I thought was Lizardmen originally. Well, either way. This looks to be Dark Elves, and you know there's only a certain amount of Dark Elves left. My biggest one is Malus Darkblade or Lokir Felhard. Those are the 2 bigger ones I'd say on the list as far as Legendary Lords that haven't been added to the game. And they are large, they take place huge places in the lore, and they're some of fan favorites, especially Lokir Felhard. People always kind of like pirates, and he falls really heavy in line with pirates. If they did a Vampire Coast, he would go great along with pirates. I don't really know. Malus Darkblade would go... I always thought Malus Darkblade would be like a dual lord pack with Eltharion, I guess, but I'm not really sure. Eltharion and Grand Punch, but Malus Darkblade, I feel he's got to be released alongside something because he's going to have... I feel like he would be a little bit bigger, maybe give an overhaul to Cold One Knights at the same time to make them not suck fuck. This next thing, though, looks like it is foresty, it looks jungle-like. I'm going to hope that's the Lizardmen FLC. So I think this FLC we could either see in tandem or right before the campaign pack. And if this is in tandem of the campaign pack, this will be right after the campaign pack, probably in line with the Lord pack. They've always released an FLC in conjunction with a DLC. So we know that we'll be getting something with that campaign pack for those of you, of course, that don't want to pay for it. I'm putting Lokir Felhard or Malus Darkblade on that list. This could be probably gor-rok. That's a really big one. I don't think it's the Prophet of Sotek, because I think that would be, if they did a Lizardman Skaven DLC, I think they would be the 2 in it. Or I'm sorry, they. I think it would be either Ikit Claw or Thankwol with Sotek, and my money is on Ikit Claw because he's Scryer, and that brings them a chance to add all the weapons teams to the game and stuff like that. So I think that Thankwol it doesn't open the door to as many units as Ikit Claw does, even though he's a Gracier and he can command pretty much anything he wants in Skavendom. So he's kind of outside of the whole ruling cast. He's not necessarily negated by clan, but still, I think it would be Ikit Claw and Sotek for a Lizardman Skaven DLC, because it just makes sense. Those 2 have always kind of... Sotek himself has always been on the heels of Pestilence, and a Scryer Lord brings in the option for weapons teams, Rattling Gunners, Mortar teams, all sorts of action from Skaven. So hopefully we'll see plenty more with this. I'm hoping this FLC comes sooner rather than later, and I hope that campaign pack also comes sooner rather than later. But we'll see about that, huh, guys? Scoot on down. We saw the ancestral update. I did not do a video on that, guys. I'm sorry. Just finally now getting settled back into my place, so I can finally hit these things as I want to hit them properly. But as we know, the ancestral update's coming. We get family trees, we get tons of fixes, tons of tweaks, and we get a whole new graphical overhaul. That is free, and that is in beta right now. So go opt in. They're even actually saying, we really want you to get involved, create your own legacies, and share your feedback with us so we can ensure it's working as intended on release. That's big, guys. I mean, like, if you really care about these games, and I say this about any game, it's not just Total War, get involved in their betas, get involved in their PTRs, because the best feedback that they're going to get is from people playtesting the shit out of it. They only have a certain amount of QA people, and more often than not nowadays, if you are in a game company, you also test that game, because they need everyone. They need as many hands on the deck as they can get. So get up in there, get up in that beta if you can, and if you really care about Rome's future, and give some feedback there, because they're going to listen to you guys more than they're going to listen to, like, me. And then the fantasy team, the pre-production. Here's our little juicy hint, right? So no news for the time being, but they give a little tiny hint here. And a concepts flying around in the area of the studio. It's absolute chaos. Chaos demons. Dreadsarian confirmed. There it is, guys. Open and shut case. Let's just stop this video. Roll fucking credits. We got it, guys. Nailed it. Knocked it out of the park. Take that, Total War. We saw through your concept bullshit. But that pretty much concludes everything here today, guys. In fact, I should have just like stopped the video and roll credits. But thanks for watching here today. Hopefully you guys have some ideas about what you think about the campaign pack, or maybe you have some feedback about Arena or Attila. Not Attila, I mean Thrones of Britannia. Attila 2.0. And Three Kingdoms, whatever it is, go ahead and leave a comment below. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, all that action. But have a good one and take care.